Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, this is not the circus, but it's going to get like one in just a couple of minutes. Because who in Seattle doesn't love going to a game, right? Well, we take all the fun of the game and we put it into this radio program, and we call it Sports Times Out. It's time for sports!
Sports! 62 stack monster!
Kraken!
Goal! Goal, 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 goal!
And drink my coffee. Go have a
Sing me a
picnic.
karaoke.
Will the Mariners ever make the
I know
playoffs?
you could go on. It's true. Oh my gosh. And you know what's really fun? I get emails from people that say, we're doing it in the car. I found myself sports. And we all just do it
Way to
together.
go. Way to
go.
It's collective sports going on here in Seattle, and man, what a week for sports. Let's just give a big congratulations to the legacy of basketball here in the Seattle area, and give kudos where kudos are due to the Storm. They brought back the title yet again in a sweep. It was absolutely amazing. Rich?
Largest margin of victory in the WNBA Finals. Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart, two of the best players on the planet for women's basketball. And Garrik, it was total domination by the Storm from beginning to end over the Aces.
Right.
Well, the planets are aligning because the rain is returning and the rain has returned the cup.
Nice.
Yeah,
This
it
bird
was
is amazing. If you got 17 years,
Yeah,
I think,
that's incredible.
I mean, and to play at the level that she's still playing at, that's just remarkable. So, I mean, I think that's like, I don't know if they have a Hall of Fame for the WNBA yet, but she should be front and center on that.
I think they just go into the
Pro basketball Hall of Fame does include WNBA players now. So I'm sure that Sue Bird will be along with the likes of Cheryl Swoops and several other luminaries when it's all said and done. WNBA's best presentation of a postseason really, really did a good job. WNBA proved that the bubble situation works. Sue Bird, once again, I'll just say it flat out. Sue Bird and Brianna Stewart are maybe the two best basketball players in the world right now.
there you go.
Speaking of, may I make this proposal really quick? Speaking of Hall of Fame, Rich and I are going to get with our buddy, fellow man of God, the president of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we're going to recommend Michelle Mendoza to be inducted, the first woman inducted into.
Amen.
You know why? That woman is a fan. That woman covers football. She gives football love, and she covers it well, better than any of those. So let's do it, Rich. Let's talk to our boy.
And it's two kinds of football, not just American football. It's two kinds.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, she includes real football as well.
Because my daddy always said football is life and Jesus is life, but not necessarily in that order. So I can't, please, no emails on my father's theology. He's in heaven now. His theology is sorted out, and I'm sure he's still watching football. So there you go. Speaking of football, the other football, the world football, man, Sounders, hello.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Has this been just a great week? I wanted to go back. This is tough. They've had to play 2 games in a week, and I have hockey fans, Brent, who will say, oh, come on, you watch the Stanley Cup. They play multiple games in a week, but they're not going a full 90 hardcore, running what is it statistically, Garrik, 11 miles, right?
Oh, yeah.
Run easily.
Up to, yeah.
Brent, seriously, 2 games in a week, that's hardcore.
It's hardcore. And, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about how they needed to shore up their defense a bit. And what was hardcore is you may not look at the score, which they won 2-1 over Salt Lake, and realize that they didn't allow any shots on goal. The one goal was scored on an own goal. So that, that happens. But when you not only shut a team out, but keep them from forcing your keeper to make any saves, I'd say the defense is getting shored up.
Okay, okay. And yeah, let's also talk about when they played Vancouver because of, again, there were a couple of games in a week. But speaking of, they really shut out the other team. That really should have happened with Vancouver. And there was some weird things that took place. That was one of the worst officiated games ever. A red card that was rescinded to a yellow card that shouldn't have even been a card at all, and
Shouldn't
and
have even
then
been a foul at all.
shouldn't have even been a foul at all.
The
Uh,
referee should get a red card for that
yeah, and that's the
debacle.
problem. Josh, you often bring this up about soccer in America, that there are two things that
Mhm.
turn off the American audience. And Chris and Josh, neither of you have weighed in yet, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. For MLS, two things seem to turn off the American viewer. Is one is the reffing, and there's no comeuppance. There's no, you did a bad ref job, you have to pay. There's no way to go back and challenge these. I mean, there is, but it's not, I don't think it's really effective. And the other thing is they flop like babies. It's,
They
you
flop
know,
like the NBA.
I even think
Oh,
it's worse, even worse. So Josh and Chris, I want to get your thoughts on that, Josh.
Yeah, I've said it a bunch of times. It's one of the biggest things that holds it back from being more popular in the States. Because I think there's a lot of people that would love to love soccer, but they have a hard time when you can watch a 2 hour compilation of guys getting their ear tipped and they're like, "Oh my gosh, my face is falling off." It's it's hard, and I think like NBA is a little bit of that problem too now, and in anytime there's bad reffing and refs interfere with the game, I mean, there's always the let the boys play mentality, right? Like let the
amen.
boys, like is the famous line from Remember the Titans. But
Yeah, yeah,
it's
there
it's
you
just
go.
hard to watch, and like the NFL's done a better job recently of cleaning that up, whereas that has been a mess the last couple of years. But this year it's actually been pretty good. I mean, one example is I think the statistic was almost 60% less offensive holding penalties that are happening. It's like, man, like that's something that you could call on every play because they're tangled up in there. You could call offensive holding on almost every single play out there, but they cut down on it, and they're only calling it when it's really egregious. They're letting the game play a little bit, which is exactly what I want to see from a game. I don't want to see little tic-tac penalties all the time. If it's an egregious penalty, sure, but when the refs become a huge part of the game, it's not a good game.
All right, way to get a Remember the Titans reference in there, Chris.
Anytime.
Here, I'm laughing, and if you don't know why, you aren't on my webpage, MyMichelleLive.com, because you can watch us do this show through our Zoom connection. And when I saw the villain, when I saw the background on the villain come up, I knew we were in for something, man. And just to set the stage, Chris Brown is our villain. He's the most godly, wonderful, you gotta love him villain ever. But he does have an out of town view, and he also has theme music. A villain. All right, chillin' villain, your thoughts.
Most chilling villain. Oh, jeez. Why'd you have to throw that in at the end? Okay, all right. I'm the most chilling. I'm the most chilling villain. First of all, just to follow up with what Josh said, it's a trap. And secondly, I want to say I knew I was going to have kind of a villain-esque take on this because I am stubborn, y'all. I don't even think it has to do with refs. I think soccer Americans, in general across the country are just stubborn. We're just stubborn, and I think we just refuse to allow for soccer to enter, that arena of American super popular sports. That's all I think it is. They can flop all day and night because, like Rich said, they flop in the NBA. They flop other places. Baseball, they're rushing the mound. Football, they're brawling. They're doing this stuff. They're having a full-on Soul Train line when they score, which I enjoy. I enjoy. And somewhere Don Corleone is like, that's awesome. But still, I just think we're stubborn when it comes to soccer. Sorry, y'all.
That's actually really good commentary. That's really true. And I'd like to get your thoughts, soccer guru Garrik paying us on this one. He's got some good points there, but yeah, I think no matter what sport you're in, VAR, video review, what's it there for if they're just going to do something stupid anyway?
Well, thanks for the graphic, Chris.
Bring the pain.
So I wholeheartedly agree with Chris, because I think that, and no disrespect, Josh, but I think people use the flopping and different things as excuses, right? Because they don't want to watch the game. They don't want to like the game anyway. And so the challenge, I think, is that it's just, I'm hearing myself echo, so I'm hearing myself twice. So sorry about that. But I think that the challenge is that it is a very different game from what we're used to watching in American sports. And I think as people develop a taste for it and an understanding and an appreciation for it, as people do when they start watching their kids, and I think it's going to take some time still, but I think the groundswell is clearly happening. And going back to the referee issue, what I clearly saw in that situation was
Vancouver.
Yes, with Vancouver, when he called the penalty and the red card, he had already made up his mind as to what happened. And what happens, what video review should be for, is that you wipe your mind clean, you go back and you look at it objectively. And he clearly did not do that. What he went to the video for was to try and justify his decision. And that's the wrong usage of video. The VAR, the video assistant referee.
Can we use this to get to the God story today, guys? I mean, think about what that, I've often said why I love doing these segments, because sports is like an analogy for life. And a lot of the things that you see played in the field of life, you see on the pitch in the game. Is that where we're at in America? We have our mindset on the way things are. And based on what? What we need to be able to do is wipe that clean, go to God's video review or the Word of God, and get a little bit of a reset, get a better perspective, and see the way life really is.
Well, can I just continue that thought? Because I think that's absolutely true. And the key, which I think was missing with the referee, and is the key for us in life, is humility, because he wanted to justify his decision. He was not humble, and he didn't want to say, oh my gosh, I totally missed this, which is what he did.
Point.
And so I think it begins, it ends with humility. And I won't get into the politics side of it, but anyway, that's my thought.
There you go. There you go. There's more politics, though, in sports that I wanted to get to in our next segment. Some things that are happening that are we past some of the politics? Is it going to continue? We have some things that are happening behind the scenes with COVID that is giving a big question mark to a lot of sports. We'll take some of that on, and we will talk your Seattle Seahawks. And of course, what are those other birds across the way that Chris is always going on about?
The Eagles? Is that the team?
Oh,
Eagles
ouch.
fan?
Who's the villain now, Josh? I gotta tell you,
I think
Chris,
it's the team that came in there and picked six Russell last year. Is that team? Whatever that team is.
I don't remember that. We're going to go to break, and we will continue live
Must
from
be the
Seattle.
Falcons.
Sports Time Out. You're listening to 8:20 a.m. The Word.
Okay,
Let's
go.
do it anyway. Okay. Thank you, Big Voice Guy. Happy Friday. We're sportsing it up. Well. We have our round table of the coolest sports commentators on the planet, my brothers. And we have with us Brent Baker, Rich Halstrom, Garrik Payne, Joshua McMillen, and our very own villain, Chris Brown. Love these guys, sports geniuses. I mean, Rich, you're like a virtual encyclopedia of sports. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but I still have
Professor.
I still have a few pages missing, Michelle. I
Oh,
have to admit to that.
I have a few pages missing myself. I gotta tell you. True story. Hey guys, it's time for us to get a little NFL-y and to take on what's going on in football. It's an exciting year with 4-0 for the Seahawks. Chris, you weren't here last week. We were pulling for the Ravens, and it was kind of a heartbreaking loss. Is there anything? And Josh, you've always been a Mahomes fan. I wonder if there's anything that can slow that kid down. He's really Russell-esque-ish, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So let's take it on. We're gonna let everyone weigh in on the NFL.
Look, just because your boy lost to Mahomes doesn't mean he's not a good quarterback. Come on now, come on.
No, I didn't say he's not good, but he's nowhere near Russell yet. Hey, y'all, here's what's happening. Like you said, they're letting guys hold. Okay, in the NFL, they're letting them hold, number one. And number two, no preseason. Defenses haven't gelled. I called it before the game. Before the game, I said, hey, this is going to be tough. And, yeah, I mean, the guy's excelling. He's never thrown an interception in September in his career. But as the season goes on, we going to see how good he is now.
Yeah, it is tough for defenses
we'll
out
give
there.
You that. Another good thing that happened this week. It was fun to watch Thursday night football, wasn't it, guys? Did anyone enjoy that as much as I did?
I enjoyed that a little too much.
I
definitely have. I mean, I like to use the term sports hate, and that's kind of my thought on Tom Brady. Nothing against him personally, but it's like with his 6 Super Bowls, watching him have a humbling moment out there where he loses track of downs on a potential game-winning drive. It was the last thing I expected to see from him, but it was
sports hate
kind of
for
remarkable.
Just a second?
He was having a Patriots flashback, Michelle.
Right.
Sports hate, it's like, you just hate the Portland team. No one hates people in Portland. I love the city. They have some of the best food on the planet down in Portland, and it's just a thing we do in sports.
Shout out to Waffle Window.
Yeah, Waffle Window. There you go. But it was kind of sad as I was watching the Patriots, because Tom Brady has had a pretty impressive career, and here he is probably towards the end of his career playing to an empty stadium for a moderate team. I was kind of like womp womp womp. But how about them Seahawks? How about them Seahawks, Brent?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Russ better keep on cooking. That's all I can say. I mean, the offense has been awesome. I don't think he's ever had a group of weapons like he has right now between DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and Chris Carson, who somehow is still healthy even after that we'll just say unfortunate gator roll tackle from a couple weeks ago.
Dirty.
The defense, there were signs of improvement this week. They didn't let any big plays get away from them, but they still have to work on that pass rush. They still have a lot of injuries back there. I think the Vikings this weekend are just dangerous enough that we probably are going to see another heart attack type of game that I think the Seahawks will win. But,
I was just thinking about that, Brent, that this week was just such a fun game to watch because, it just wasn't as to the last second defibrillate Michelle. I didn't feel like the Seahawks were trying to kill me, because it kind of feels like that every week. I
thought you might have been bored with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what's the excitement?
And take a nap.
Jump start my heart, Rich Halstrom.
Yeah, well, we're going to see how good the Seahawks rushing defense is this week. Delvin Cook is going to carry the mail for the Vikings, and it's going to be up to the Seahawk defense to get a rush on Cousins, and that's your recipe for victory this week. I'm thinking 28-10 Seahawks at home.
Ooh, okay, villain.
Ooh,
Mess with
man.
that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
go,
not.
please.
Hey, y'all can
Tear it
get
up.
a beach towel, and lay out in the sun in that game, man. That's going to be an easy win. The Vikings are in disarray. They're not coming to your stadium and doing nothing. All right,
Squish
Cousins
the
is going to
grape,
be a
baby.
kissing cousin right now,
Squish
kissing
the grape.
ground. That's not gonna be a contest, y'all.
Something we've been pulling for since before the first kickoff, Chris, is what if we see a Super Bowl with Ravens and Seahawks? Do you think we're still on track for that?
I do. I personally do. I think, again, what we need to see in the league is defenses, the comeuppance of defense. I just want to see if they're going to improve, and I think they are. Now, think about it. Now, we're after week 4, so that's like a full preseason, right? I mean, that's like it's more than a full preseason because everybody's been playing.
Right.
So now we should start. And also, if you think about how the Patriots played the Chiefs, if it weren't for – let me see, how can I put this? I'm going to put this Rich Halstrom gently. If it weren't for brain dead playing by the quarterback of the Patriots, brain dead, the Patriots win that game. I mean, Hoyer, dude, that's all I'm going to say. But anyway, the Patriots might have, I think they did a little bit of blueprinting for how to face Mahomes. And so we'll see. I mean, look, and again, Josh, Mahomes is awesome. Okay, now, Josh, I don't like when he's been counting, though. I don't like when he does all this stuff, right? Huh? No, okay, we don't remember all that. But I think when defenses come up, I think the Seahawks and the Ravens have a chance to meet. And frankly, even though I think that might happen, I don't want to meet y'all, man, because I don't like facing a really godly quarterback. I don't like that. That godly quarterbacks, I don't like facing them.
There's a different 12th man on that field.
I like it, guys. COVID has kind of wreaked a little bit of havoc here and there. We're trying to navigate through. How do you think we're doing, and how do you think the effect of a pandemic is playing out on sports? Are we making it through? Does it look like we're at the beginning, the middle, or the end, Josh?
We're doing fine. It's fine. I mean, we got a couple players
I'm
out
sorry,
here and there.
Josh, I can't
Oh.
find you. Let me put you back on. There you go.
It's fine. We're fine. We're doing fine. It's all good in the hood. I know we're losing a couple players, but you quarantine them. It's all right. I don't think it's anything to worry about. And honestly, I think the one takeaway I've had from this is let's never not have a preseason again. Okay.
Yes,
Not having a preseason
Amen.
has been awful for a couple of big reasons. One, it's tough for defenses. We see the offenses running all over the field because defenses aren't together, especially when you put together new secondaries, things like that too. Look at the insane amount of injuries we've had, all these knee injuries that have happened in the first couple of weeks. That's because we have guys in shape but not in football shape. There's nothing you can do. And the preseason games are great because you're not having your starters out there playing full games. They're getting lighter reps. They're not out there the full time. You're cycling guys in, seeing what you got, letting the young guys play, and you get people into a spot where they're healthier. And we saw an unprecedented number of injuries over the first couple of weeks of the season, and the Seahawks got bit by it hard too. So that's the big thing I'm saying is let's never again do this mess without any preseason games. I know that there are some players that are clamoring for it, but man, after the amount of injuries we saw, I hope they can change their tune and see, okay, you know what? Maybe we need to get on the field a little bit. Maybe it gives us a chance to get in the right form for this. So I'm really hoping that that's what we come up on in terms of COVID.
All right, Garrik.
Well, I think that the whole COVID thing is.
Let's hear you again. Sorry about that.
Now you lost Garrik. You're losing people. What is that?
Can you hear me now?
I can't.
You need a
There you
map?
go.
I think if we look at the statistics, people keep talking about science. If we look at the statistics for COVID and the death rate, the actual mortality rate of people who contract COVID, it is so low amongst the general population. The senior population, it's like as high as 25%. But for people even up to age 50, 60 is less than 1%. And so I just feel like this is kind of crazy overblown. Now, it does seem to be more communicable in terms of people catching it, but people are bouncing back quickly. And so it's just one of those things, that it's a little bit frustrating for me, especially, hearing the governor we're allowing pro football to happen, but kids can't play football. I mean, the mortality rate for kids is less than 1/3 of 1%. And so anyway, I'm sorry I got off track a
No,
little
I
bit,
think
but
it's an important point. We started a lot of this saying, "Oh, we just want to flatten the curve." You know, the same people are, you know, we're going to have those numbers, but we're going to flatten the curve. Now, what are we trying to do? It's difficult to say. Yes, it can have some pretty nasty effects on some people, but as you said, those numbers are low. The media kind of builds it up a bit, and so we still live in this frenzy land. That's certain. But where we're at today is it's a confusing mess, Chris.
Yeah, it is confusing, but I tend to go along with what Garrik said. I just think, and you know, I kind of have that hopeful take on it too. I really hope that guys can be smart. Hey guys, maybe not greeting each other, the team from some other place in the country at midfield, and dap it up and hug it up, and so maybe not doing that, guys. I don't know. That's just me, but I think that what we'll look back and see is how people made it through this time, and you know, I'm just really hoping that two things. Number one, that the Titans will have to forfeit all their games, and number two, that we can make I can't even say it with a straight face. No, I'm done.
Well, and here we are. It is wreaking havoc on the next generation who might be looking for a scholarship and don't get that chance. But it's a tough one, guys. We have come to the time in our show where we need to take our final shot. And so I keep pressing the button and nothing happens. Why are you doing that to me? I don't know. It was supposed to make something happen. It's not happening. It's just that kind of weekend is starting out. Let's try that again. There we go. All right. Time for our final shot, and we're going to go in Zoom order. We are going to start with Brent.
Well, I am wearing a classic Houston Oilers hat today.
Houston Oilers, Houston Oilers.
Hey, I could even play that song if you want.
Wow.
Houston Oilers #1. Yeah. So 2 franchises represented by this hat, showing 2 levels of incompetence this week. That makes me really thankful we don't have that in Seattle. The former Houston Oilers, now in Tennessee.
Right.
I mean, they had the COVID outbreak. So what do? They have a bunch of their players gathered together at a high school for an off-the-books practice, and they get a second wave of the virus, which is, as Chris said, after that, I kind of hope they have to forfeit some games because it's not like they didn't know. And then we have the Houston Texans, who replaced the Oilers, and they just fired their coach and GM, Bill O'Brien, this week, who, you know, he was okay as a coach, but as a GM was disastrous and had a real habit of trading away top-rate players for virtually nothing. The Seahawks benefited for that last year with Jadeveon Clowney for a year and really didn't lose anything in the process. So to the Oilers and Texans, or the Titans, excuse me, here's to you. And thanks, Seahawks, for not being them.
All right, I'm next. My final shot.
You're welcome.
Once again, Benjamin Watson. Patriots. He played for the Patriots, but here's why you gotta love him, because we're playing on the same team. He's on Team Jesus, and he did a amazing job producing Divided Hearts of America. It's a documentary taking on abortion, but it listens. It listens to people who have had abortions, abortion doctors, people who are pro-life and pro-choice. It listens, it hears, it laments. It's not about preaching at you and saying that abortion is evil. It's about listening and coming to a right conclusion. It is well done, and you can find it at Salem Now. Rich Halstrom.
Well, I'm started the show talking about this, and I'm going to end the show talking about this because they deserve their due. Sue Bird and Breanna Stewart, maybe the top 2 women's basketball players in the world right now. Consistency all the way around by the Storm organization. Well-deserved championship. Let's go for #5 next year.
Garrik, paying us.
I'm going to give you a kind of off the wall one, but I was so impressed this week by the Washington State governor's debate, the moderators for the debate. They did such a great job of listening to the candidates, allowing them a chance to respond, engaging with them, challenging them, and giving them an opportunity for us to really hear what they believe. If you haven't seen that, I really encourage you to go out. But just hats off, great job, especially after what we've seen in some of the national stuff. The Washington State governor's debate was very good.
Yeah, you're setting the bar pretty low though with the national.
Oh.
All right, my shout out. It'll go to Garrik Pang for comparing watching soccer
I
to.
cannot hear you. Sorry about that, Josh. Go ahead.
But my shout out, Garrik Pang, for comparing watching soccer to watching children. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just pulled that one out from earlier today. My shout out's gonna go over to the bicycle gang here in Seattle. That if you're on Zoom, you'll get to see this here. It's a kind of cut off, but there's a bicycle gang now in Seattle. I tweeted this out. There is a bunch of retired. This is Cliff Averill. You can see him right behind me here. He's hanging out with Deshaun Shed, Cam Chancellor, and Jermaine Kearse, 3 retired Seahawks that are just hanging around, biking around Seattle, that are doing their thing, which that just made me really happy. I was more happy than I have any right to be, just seeing those guys hanging out, biking around.
Okay.
Maybe I should race those guys. What do you think?
Do it. Get your
There you go.
and just zoom it, man. Zoom it. Chris Brown, bring us home.
All right, so got to get my helmet sticker. This week we're not going to use the Thunder Sports Network helmet for the helmet sticker, but I'm going to take a page out of Lee Corso's book. And as you see in my background, if you're watching on My Michelle, you can see that I'm at the Tar Heel Stadium, and the Carolina University of North Carolina Tar Heels are number 8 in the nation. So we're ready to strap them on and go for it.
Yeah.
We're gonna go up against those Virginia Tech Hokies. Let's bring it home, baby!
Yeah.
I like it.
Bring it back, famous Amos Lawrence.
Always such a pleasure.
Oh yeah, famous
to hang
Amos.
out with you. Starting our weekend ride. I'm Michelle Mendoza, and from the team at the table, a happy Blue Friday. Stay
Happy
with us,
Blue
guys.
Friday.
We are going to get you plugged into the movies, and we'll even share some weird news. We're live from Seattle, 8:20 a.m. The Word, and you can find me, MyMichelleLive.com.